Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. Well, in today's closing episode, this is going to be about our review of the second American Civil War movie. Again, a synopsis, a review, and there's probably going to be some spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie and want to see the movie, maybe you don't want to watch what I'm about to say. So first and foremost, if you were to watch the previews of this movie, you would think that it has an air of comedy to it, that it could be a bit funny. Now, I'll tell you, it is not a funny movie. It is an incredibly serious and very violent movie. Very violent movie. Definitely not a movie you want to take small children to. It is a brutal, brutal movie. Now, the director, the production company, A24, had talked about not really taking a political stand, that they were trying to avoid taking any sort of politics into the movie. Now, I can tell you, to some extent, they did that. But by and large, it does appear that the existing president has initiated some sort of tyrannical rule, such as not liking the media, believing the media is not trustworthy, and the government in power in Washington, D.C., and the areas around Washington, D.C., have the propensity of just executing media types, journalists. Also to note, this movie, again, spoiler alert, is at the end of an American Second Civil War. This is not the beginning. This is not the middle stages of an American Civil War. This movie, from what I was able to gather, putting pieces together, this is taking place at the very end. And you'll, obviously, when you watch the movie, you'll understand. Also, the president in charge of the country abolished the FBI. Canceled the FBI. FBI gone. Now, the forces that oppose this president, the current ruler of the country, appears to be California, Texas, and to some extent Florida, and to some extent, quote-unquote, Maoists in Portland. That's what they said. So, how you get Texas merging with Maoists in the Pacific Northwest, difficult to say. But nonetheless, that is what they that is what they talked about. Now, groups fighting each other, they do get into the realm of the Boogaloo Boys and the Great Luau. There are definitely the Boogaloo Boys dressed in their Hawaiian shirts fighting government-type soldiers. But the movie, essentially, is from the viewpoint of a group of journalists who start out in New York. They start out in New York, and their goal, what these journalists want to do, is to make their way from New York, circumventing around the northern approaches of Maryland into West Virginia, into Virginia, down to Charlottesville, where the front lines are taking place right now. Again, at the end of the Civil War, the Western Alliance, Texas, California, what have you, the front lines are essentially in the central part of Virginia as they close in on the White House. And these journalists, their whole goal is to try to make their way into Washington, D.C. and interview the president. And they're concerned because the current administration does not like the media. Who does that remind you of? Where is the political dynamic pointing towards in this movie? So to say it's not political, you may be fooling yourself. It tries to do that, but if you look closely in terms of the president in power, canceling the FBI, abolishing the FBI, not liking the media, you can take a guess who they're trying to say the president is, or who likely the president appears to be or could emulate. But in terms of entertainment value, it big high production, relatively high production war movie. Lots of fighting, lots of atrocities, lots of craziness. And again, mainly from the viewpoint of these journalists simply trying to get into Washington, D.C. to have this last interview with the president. And that's what it's about. Is it entertaining? Yeah, absolutely. It is entertaining. Again, good production value. Realistic? Probably not. But, again, that's Hollywood. I think Hollywood gave it their best shot. They tried to be non-political, but they're always going to be political, and you can definitely see that in this movie. Absolutely. But if you see it, tell me what you think, what your thoughts are, and more importantly, are we heading in that direction? Is this movie designed to get us ready for what's coming here in the United States? Have a good evening.